For most of the last 400 years, the official scientific position was that animals cannot feel pain, not won't show it, cannot feel it. René Descartes, the man who invented modern philosophy, described a dog being nailed to a board and dissected alive as a machine making noise, not suffering. Noise, the screaming, he wrote, was no different from the sound a clock makes when you press its spring. He was wrong, and the way we found out changes everything we thought we knew about pain, consciousness, and what separates us from every other living thing on Earth. Let's start with why anyone believed him. In the 1600s, Descartes divided the universe into two things: mind and matter. Humans had minds. Animals were matter, biological machines, elaborate, yes, impressive sometimes, but machines. No soul meant no inner life. No inner life meant no suffering, just input and output, action and reaction. The screaming was a mechanical response to damage, the same way a fire alarm doesn't suffer when smoke hits it. It just makes a sound. This wasn't a fringe idea. It became the operating assumption of Western science for centuries. It shaped how animals were treated in laboratories, in slaughterhouses, in surgery rooms, and in law. And it was almost never seriously questioned, because questioning it meant opening a door that was very uncomfortable to walk through. Here's the first crack in that door. In 1980, a researcher named Donald Griffin published a book called The Question of Animal Awareness. Griffin was not a radical. He was one of the most respected biologists in the world, the man who discovered that bats navigate by echolocation, and his argument was simple. If an animal has a nervous system like ours and behaves the way we behave when we are in pain, the most logical explanation is that it is in pain. The burden of proof, he said, should not be on the people claiming animals suffer. It should be on the people claiming they don't. The scientific establishment did not receive this well. For years, studying animal emotion was considered bad science. Sentimental, the word they used was anthropomorphic, as if noticing the obvious was a failure of objectivity. But the data kept arriving. In the late 1990s, researchers at the University of Edinburgh ran experiments on sheep. They found that sheep could recognize up to 50 individual sheep faces and remember them for years. They found measurable stress when sheep were separated from specific companions. And then they found something nobody expected. Sheep showed facial expressions of pain. Consistent, measurable, reproducible. The same tightening around the eyes, the same tension in the cheek muscles, the same flattening of the ears, the same look you make when something hurts. On a sheep's face. Scientists called it the sheep pain facial action coding system. It became a diagnostic tool in veterinary medicine. The same framework was adapted for mice, rabbits, horses, rats, and cats. Every single one had a pain face. Every single one wore it the same way you do, without being taught, without being asked, because something inside them needed to show it. Then came the fish. In 2003, a zoologist named Lynn Snedden injected acetic acid into the lips of rainbow trout. The fish rubbed the injection site against the gravel. They rocked from side to side. They stopped eating. Their breathing rate climbed. And when she gave them morphine, it stopped. All of it. Immediately. The counter-argument came fast. Fish don't have a neocortex. The neocortex is the region associated with conscious experience in humans. No neocortex, no consciousness. No consciousness, no real pain. Just reflex. Snedden's response was simple. The assumption that consciousness requires a neocortex is a human assumption, built on human anatomy. We decided consciousness looked like our brain and checked every other species against that template. But fish have been evolving for 500 million years. The absence of our structure does not mean the absence of their experience. It means we don't fully understand theirs yet. The argument is still running, but the weight of evidence has shifted. In 2012, the world's leading neuroscientists gathered at Cambridge University. When the conference ended, they signed a document. The Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. It stated in their own words that non-human animals possess the neurological substrates that generate consciousness. Not might possess. The list included all mammals, all birds, and specifically octopuses. An octopus has 9 brains, 1 central and 1 in each arm. Each arm can taste, feel, and make decisions on its own. When an octopus is injured, it guards the wound for days. A 2021 study found that injured octopuses avoid environments where the injury happened. They become less social. They stop exploring. They behave like something that is not just hurting, but grieving the hurt. Here is what makes that significant. The last common ancestor between a human and an octopus lived 750 million years ago. We are about as distantly related as two animals can be, and yet something that functions like pain evolved in both of us, completely independently, in two completely different nervous systems. That is not a coincidence. Pain is not something that happened to us. It is something the universe keeps building because it works. Because pain is information. Stop. Something is wrong here. Animals that cannot feel it die young. Evolution selected hard for the capacity to suffer because suffering keeps you alive. Now here is the part that is harder to sit with. Your dog knows when you are anxious before you do. Dogs can detect human cortisol through smell. They respond to crying differently than laughing. When something unexpected happens, they check your face first before deciding how to react. Researchers call it social referencing. They have been living beside us for 40,000 years, and in that time, their ability to read human emotion became something close to extraordinary. When your dog rests its head on your lap while you cry, that is not a performance. Studies show that when dogs witness their owners in distress, the dog's own cortisol rises. Their heart rate increases. They seek contact. Something in them responds to your pain as if it were happening to them, which means when they are in pain, something is happening to them too. The reason this is uncomfortable is not the science. The reason this is uncomfortable is what it means. We built an entire civilization on the assumption that we were the only ones it really hurt. Every laboratory, every slaughterhouse, every legal system that classifies an animal as property rather than a being, every person who has ever said it doesn't feel it the way we do, all of it was built on Descartes, on the machine theory, on the clock that screams. The Cambridge Declaration said plainly that the assumption was wrong. This does not mean animals feel pain exactly the way you do. The experience is almost certainly different. But different is not the same as nothing, and nothing is what we built everything on. Descartes heard a clock. He was wrong about what was making the sound.